Well, hello and welcome to what is hopefully going to be the start of a few of these videos where I go through some different races and give you guys some tips and tricks for each one of these races that are across New South Wales and other spots in Australia. So, the first one that we're going to look at is the 6 foot track marathon, which is on the 8th of March 2024. They're hopefully changing the course a little bit, but we'll just talk about the course as advertised at the moment. So, for everybody that's managed to make it in to the race, good work. Getting into the lottery and getting qualified, etc. It's no mean feat. You have to have a pretty good qualifying result to make it into this fairly iconic race, which is now having its 40th anniversary this year. So a little bit about the race. It started out as I think 4 or 5 guys basically just deciding that they were going to do this one day, um, and made out with I think no water and maybe one boiled lolly between them, or only a very small amount of water. Anyway, pretty crazy to think that that was the case now when generally we go out sometimes and feel like we're doing 2 hours and we've taken 2 liters of water with us, etc., especially on hot weather. But yeah, those guys got to hand it to them to make it through the course, which is pretty tough, having done it last year. Um, so what I'm going to do is just go into Google Earth here, and obviously we're in the Blue Mountains of the Sydney Blue Mountains area. Um, So yeah, this is the course as advertised for last year, 2022, which I believe didn't run, and this year. Just waiting to find out whether or not the final bit changes, but we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. So we start from Katoomba, just a little bit between Katoomba and Medlow Bath there at the start of the 6 foot track. And if I go in and I'll just show the elevation profile. We'll just start talking about this a little bit. Yeah, we start out with a fairly big drop, then it's flat, then we've got the descent down to Cox's River, then we've got some fairly big amount of elevation in that section between 15 and 32, which we'll talk about, and then just some small elevation changes here and there, undulating terrain until the end. So let's just get into it a little bit here. So we're going to start basically at the 6 foot track. So on the morning, there's a couple of different options. I believe there's a bus service to shuttle you from Katoomba Station. That's probably the easiest way to get there. Otherwise, get somebody to drop you off. The other option is there's a little spot on the road just here where you may be able to get a park. It's actually just on the highway. Not there. I think it's about there. Oh no, sorry, this part here. This part here, that's where you can park your car if that part is open. However, don't quote me, there isn't a huge amount of space to park there. Last year, what I did, I just took the train up to Katoomba and then just walked/jogged up to there, which was a good little warm up. So when you get here, you're going to start in the if I turn this around a bit, you're going to basically start on the side here. So there's a space here for, I don't know, probably maybe about 50 to 100 people, I guess, in each wave. It's probably a bit more than that. I think you're pretty packed in there. I think it's 1,100 participants, 5 waves, so there's about 300 people in each wave. When you start out, you're going to go past the first gate. Then immediately there's kind of this fairly narrow fire trail that you're going to have to go down here. Can be pretty hard to overtake. So if you think you're going to be faster than everybody else in the pack, just make sure you get towards the front. There's not a huge amount of space to overtake on here, even though it is fire trail. There isn't a huge amount of space there. What I did last year, I had to overtake quite a few people and just use the sides, but just watch out for some ankle breakers there. You'll continue down this. It kind of has a fairly gentle slope on it here until you reach this corner. Once you reach this corner, that does start to become a bit steeper. There's a couple of stairs here, things like that. Then you'll turn around the left hand. So to get there, you'll pass through a small wooden gate slash, I don't know, motorbike control, I guess, or bike control that you just walk through, and then you are into these steep stairs. So I'll try to show the elevation here a little bit. You can see basically, yeah, it is quite steep here. So this section here is, if I just take the worst section here, yeah, it's 22.5% negative slope. So, and that's the average. So yeah, it is a very steep section of stairs. Do go easy. My tip would be make sure in the, sometime in the 1 to 2 week range before the race that you've gone out and done a good quad downhill session, just to basically build up the strength in the quads. That was kind of my mistake last year. I don't think I did enough quad work on that, and ended up with quite sore quads afterwards, especially if you think you are going to go fast down these. Just get as much quad strength as you can. Otherwise, one step at a time. Don't try to do 2 steps. That's just going to create more quad damage for the later stages of the race. The main thing here is really just try to survive. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to, you're only going to gain maybe a minute by going, well, maybe a little bit more, a minute or 2 minutes by going super fast down these stair sections. You'd be better off just taking it easy. So that would be my advice there. Then it starts to get a little bit less steep, all the way down to Nelly's Glen. So you're going to have this section here where it stops being stairs, and then it just starts being single track / double track. That's not quite anywhere near as steep as the stairs, till you get to Nelly's Glen, which I think is about here. Then it's going to open up into some nice wide fire trail. And then at that point, you are just taking it fairly easy. It's fairly flat through that section. You're going to pass through here. There's a couple of puddles and stuff, but nothing really to worry about. I wouldn't worry too much about trying to get wet, getting wet feet here, because you're going to get wet feet down at the creek anyway. So don't generally worry too much about that. My advice would be lots of foot glide. This race, you have to go through water, so make sure you get some foot glide on. Wear some moisture wicking socks. Take a spare pair of socks if you want. Just make sure you've got a spare pair of socks and shoes for the end, because you are going to have wet feet for most of the race. You pass through a couple of cow paddocks. There's a creek crossing at one point just before the road, where there will probably be a photographer. There'll be photographers all over the place, but try to look like you try to make a better photo than I got through that creek. Then you are going to cross Cox's River. You're going to pass the cemetery, so we're not quite that far yet. Let's go back here. The creek is about here-ish. You cross the road, cross the cemetery, past the cemetery. There's some cattle grids here, so just be aware that they can definitely trap feet. There's a cattle grid here. There's a couple of cattle grids along this section of fire trail that goes down. It's a gentle downhill until you get to here. Then it opens up a bit, and then you pass over this bridge, little Guyver Bridge here. Then I'll just try to show this more accurately. You are then going to go up a hill, down a hill, across a little creek section here. Then you go up this fairly, it doesn't look like much, but it is still a decent little hill to climb up. People are generally walking by that stage, so if you've still got some energy in the tank, great. Wouldn't really worry too much about it. It's not long enough to really gain a huge amount of speed or places. And you're going to need to save your energy for this bit that's coming up here. So this part here, between here and here down to the river, if I zoom out and show this is all single track. Plenty of roots and rocks to trip over, so just be careful with that. Try to keep a good pace down there. It's hard to overtake, so if you're in a group of people where maybe they're not going quite as fast as you'd like. Just really think about whether or not you do need to pass. If you do, just be polite. Try to overtake, but yeah, generally if you're running 2, 3, 1 or 2 minutes faster per kilometre than the other competitors, then you're going to gain about 5 minutes in this section if you want it. 2 minutes faster, which it's going to be pretty rare. Most people are going to be running this at maybe 6, 7, between 5 and 7 minute Ks, depending on what wave you're in. If you think that you're going to go a huge amount faster, so be it, but it's not really going to make a huge difference. And look, it's a section that's fairly enjoyable. You're going down some single track. It's a lot better than the the next part of the course, which we'll get to. So, just maybe, focus on your form, your technique. Try not to fall over at this point. That'd be pretty bad. And you'll get through that section quite all right. So I think for a 7-hour finish, or just under 7-hour finish, you want to reach Cox's River at, let me just go check Ultra Pacer. So I've loaded this into Ultra Pacer. So Cox's River, you'd want to reach that at basically the 2-hour mark to be able to be on track for a 6:55 finish, and clear up clear a potential DNF result. Make sure you're under 7 hours. So yeah, 2 hours and 6 minutes would be Cox's River. So an average pace of 8 minutes 50 between Megalong Road and there. So really don't feel like you need to really take a huge amount of time there. All right, just jumping back into Google Earth. From there, now the real part where you've got to embrace the suck starts. So first of all, you've got this uphill 10.5% average grade from the bottom here up to Mini Saddle. There's a little fake part here. Once you get up to the top, there's an aid station at Lemon Tree Yards, which I think is just here. There's an aid station just there. You will have a slight downhill, but it's just don't let it fool you. As soon as you turn around the corner, it's going to be more and more uphill, all the way up to Mini Saddle. Now you have a bit of a reprieve here between Mini Saddle and Alum Creek, or the base of Alum Creek. So you pass by Alum Creek Campground just here. This is all fairly steep. Well, not steep, but it's moderate. Fire trail down to the bottom. There's a couple of steep sections where you could easily lose your footing, because I just ran this last weekend, and there is quite a bit of gravel on the course. So just be aware of that. Try not to lean back too far and make your feet unable to grip the ground. There's an aid station there, I think, at the bottom. So yeah, good opportunity to refuel, get some more things on. There's an aid station every 3 or 5 Ks, if I remember correctly. So yeah, plenty of aid stations around the course. Now you are going to climb up the section from Alum Creek up to Pluviometer. So I'll just zoom out a little bit here. So yeah, it's relentless. Like, you think you've got past most of the uphill here. This section here is even longer. Last year's race, it was hot. This part really didn't. I really didn't like this. Now, the thing here to remember as well is, with these gradients here, really practice your run-walk strategy. Depending on how fast you are, if you're a mid-pack runner, you're not really going to go a huge amount faster by jogging up these or running up these hills. Just really think about whether or not it's going to be more efficient for you, especially in some of the steep sections here. Like, some of these sections, 14% grade, 13% grade or thereabouts. Some of these sections here, you will definitely be probably more efficient to walk them. So definitely take a strategy where you run where you can and walk where you can't run. And just make sure that you're walking fast. You can definitely make up speed and overtake people just by walking fast up these hills. So definitely keep that in mind. if you can keep going up these hills at 9-10 minute kilometers, you'll probably overtake people. Keep something in the tank for the end. So basically from 32 k's onward, it is just undulating terrain. There is a couple of pinch climbs that are pretty annoying. Depending on what happens with the race this year, they may not do this section here, this section called deviation that has this loop from here around. If they keep that in, that's fire trail through pine forest with some technical not technical downhills, but there is quite a bit of gravel and larger rocks on some of these downhills, so just be aware of that. If they do what they are hoping for and finish at Jenolan Caves properly, which is down here, then there's a track that basically you follow along this ridge here, which is quite steep over downhill. And then this section will be out. You just basically run directly forward and then go there. If it does finish at the cottages like it has last year, then yeah, there's not really a huge amount to worry about. There's a few stairs here that may kind of catch you out if you've got sore quads. So again, don't overcook your quads at the start of the race, and try to keep some leg strength in for the later sections of the race. Yeah, that's basically the course overview. So if I jump back into Ultra Pacer, I'll just talk quickly about kind of the overall pace that you want to set throughout the course here. So I've loaded this into Ultra Pacer, which basically figures out, based on the plan, and I've just loaded in a fairly simple plan at the moment where, if you wanted to finish in 6 hours and 55 minutes, you can set up the aid station delays, things like that. Pretty cool tool. So I've loaded that in there. I might just pop a link to this in the description, so you can jump in and play around with the plan if you like. So yeah, no, let's give this a better name. 6 hours 55. So that's just going to get you through the 7 hours. Wouldn't recommend this strategy. I think you'd probably set your elapsed time target to be a little bit nicer than this, because yeah, the last thing you want to do is give yourself a false sense of security, and then inevitably something might go wrong. You'll have some time delays. Who knows? So yeah, but we'll just use this for the purpose of showing what the bare minimum time that you'd be hitting these checkpoints in. So you'd want to reach from the start, assuming that we're starting at 7 o'clock. Now, depending on your wave, that won't necessarily be the case. If you're starting in wave 5, you'll obviously be starting quite a bit later. You want to be reaching Megalong Road. So our first checkpoint here, Megalong Road, you'd want to be basically hitting that at about the 1 hour mark. That's slightly off. It's actually about there, but doesn't really matter. That's not really going to make much material difference to that. Yeah, you want to hit that about the 1 hour mark. The second one along the course then is the Cox's River. So you've got that section of single track down into Cox's River. You want to reach that in around 2 hours and 6 minutes from the time you start. Next one, lots and lots of climbing, so all the way across these climbs here. So Ultra Pacer has automatically taken the pace down for those sections to incorporate the hills. So I think the worst here, it's saying 18 minutes and 56 seconds a kilometer at the steepest points there, which you're gonna be going faster than that. Honestly, that's a very slow walk pace up those sections. So it's fairly conservative, but you just need to make sure that you're not going to cook your quads and cook your legs throughout this process. So to reach the top of Pluvey, so that would be here. The other top here is Black Range. Sorry, I was talking about that being Pluvey before. No, that's Black Range at that point. So your 3 here, checkpoint 3, pluviometer, 4 hours and 16 minutes. So you've got basically 2 hours between Cox's River and Pluvey to still hit your 6 hours 55. Deviation, so that's the point where the track splits off here. just before that, where you've got that extra loop to add a bit more distance. You want to reach the end of that at 6 hours and 5 minutes for a finish 50 minutes later down at the cabins. If it does change, it's not going to be much different. I guess, yeah, we could just update this Ultra Pacer thing to incorporate that there's going to be a bit more distance in the end here. So you kind of take out a few Ks here and place the Ks at the end to come down into Jenolan Caves cottage. Not the cottages, but the Jenolan Caves complex down there, which is a much nicer photo to finish with. So let's just go through how the plan changes. Let's say you actually want to really have a good run and you want to come in at the 5 hour mark. Look, more power to you if you think you can hit this time. It's yeah, I came in with 6 hours 10 last year. So 5 hours is a pretty solid goal. 5 hours, you'd be hitting Cox's River in 1:30. Pluviometer 3 hours and 4. Deviation 4 hours 23, and finishing in 5 hours. So that'll give you a kind of rough idea. So if you kind of treat each one of these as kind of 1.5 hours each time, then that's going to see you come across in about 5 hours, and then add half an hour between each section to come in at about 6. So have a play around with that. Think about your goals. Look, don't get beaten up by your goal. Last thing you want to do is just feel like you're just having a crap race because you're so focused on a time target. Go out, have fun, talk to people, just enjoy the atmosphere. Hopefully it's a nice day. Don't get too hung up on the time. Just, look, you can use your own mind to do this, but yeah, definitely don't beat yourself up if you feel that you're not hitting that time goal. So that'd be my advice. And recover well. Just look after the quads afterwards. Make sure you get your protein in. Make sure you get enough carbs in. And yeah, that's about it. Between now and then, I'd really just focus on those the downhill runs for your quads. Hit some stairs, do some stair repeats, hit some, do some hill work for some of these. Something like a 5-minute hill repeats. Go out and do like three 5-minute hill repeats up a pretty steep hill. Get your heart rate moving into that kind of tempo zone where it's kind of hard to talk. You might be able to make you might be able to say 1 or 2 words, but that's about it. You're going to be working pretty hard to do those ones. That's a good idea if you really want to attack these hills. Otherwise, I'd just get out and do some practicing on hiking. Last thing you want to do is go out and do these hills and you haven't practiced walking fast. So yeah, do that. You could do something like a 4 by 5 minute or a 4 by 7, 4 by 10 minute, whoever you wanted to do it. Just make sure you've got the rest intervals in there to get your heart rate down. Just attack it in stages. If you want to train on course, yeah, if you've got the opportunity, then definitely go and do that. You could either drive around to the backside on Jenolan Caves Road and do kind of this section here, or you could drive to Megalong or drive to the start. There's a few different options you could do to train on course. And then just make sure you've got your long runs in, and you could look at, if you're time poor, you could look at doing long runs Saturday, Sunday, just do doubles. You could get out and do a 20k on Saturday and a 30k on Sunday. That'd be a good idea. But yeah, you're going to need to, ideally, you'd actually go out and do a 45, 50k long run. The time on feet's going to be really what you need. That's going to create all of those adaptations that you're looking for a race like this. And hopefully you've been doing a lot of that training already. So yeah, I think that's about all I had to say, really. If you've got comments, questions, chuck them in the comments. Feel free to send me an email, look up my website. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you need any last minute training advice or anything like that, let me know. And other than that, get out there, have fun. It's a great race, great history to be a part of. So enjoy it. Thanks.